Are you panicking because your child has left or is about to leave for university or college? If you are, you need to watch this. And if you're not going through that particular change in a woman's life, stick around anyway, because there might just be some gems in it for you too. Welcome to Happy Stuff and Fluff, a channel for women who are getting happy, living longer and growing younger. Now, we don't do that on this channel by being constantly happy clappy or Pollyanna positive. No, what I want to do for you on my channel is to help you to go through these changes in a woman's life more quickly, more efficiently, and less painfully through the use of positive psychology, which is a relatively new science, and I am a positive psychology practitioner. I'm also a coach. But today I want to talk to you as a mum of 3 who sent all 3 off to university, but also on the other side of that coin, I was a lecturer at university and I taught undergrad students from the age of 18 to 21 for some 8 or 9 years. So I've kind of seen this subject from all sides. I've also talked about it before on this channel, and I'm going to leave a link here, because in those videos I talk about preparing yourself and your child for this event. Now, obviously, if you're sending your child off to university kind of right now, it's a bit late to talk about preparation, but they will be home at Christmas time. So I would watch these videos to give you more tips on how to help yourself and how, most importantly, how to speak to your child so that they can help you to deal with this more easily. Okay, let's get on with the video. So first of all, let me tell you, I have worked for myself for the longest time. I didn't work full-time as my children were growing up, but I've always worked. And I've always been interested in personal development and so on. And so I was well aware of the empty nest syndrome. And of course, I was totally well prepared for it, emotionally and intellectually. At least that's what I thought. Until my first child went off to university and it hit me like a truck. Let me tell you, with all of my training, with all of my parenting skills, nobody could have prepared me for that gut-wrenching sadness I felt when my first child left home. So, this may not be popular, this way of talking. What I'm saying to you is, there is no quick fix for this. You will feel sad. Of course you're going to feel sad. What's more, it's perfectly normal. Now, why I'm talking about this again on this channel is because it's by far and away the most popular subject on my channel, Empty Nest, and the most popular subject in my email box. And of course, this time of year, lots of women are talking to me about it. And what's become apparent to me is the way a lot of women get themselves sucked into this downward spiral of negative thinking in terms of this, it becomes overwhelming. And just listening to them talk, I know a lot of the way they're thinking is catastrophic thinking with very little substance to their way of thinking. It's more like oh my goodness, my baby's leaving and I'm not going to be their mum and they're never going to need me anymore and what am I going to do without them and I'm going to lose my identity and yeah, recognise any of that? And so it goes on and you get sucked into this and before you know it, you are weeping all the time. You are going into their empty room and weeping. You are smelling their clothes and weeping. Now, stop right there if that's you. Stop right there. Take a deep breath And let's think about this in a more practical manner. I will allow you to sink into that sadness and the weeping, shall we say, for 2 days after you've taken your child off to university. I think that's long enough for the weeping. The weeping then needs to stop. And then you need to start thinking about what's going to happen next. How are you going to move forward for your own sake and for that of your family, your partner and your children and any remaining children that you have. Okay, let's get some deep breaths and relax and give yourself a break. Know that the feelings that you're having are normal. That's the first thing, because I think because this is a natural thing that your child leaves home, there's this thing, certainly amongst the women I talk to, there's this thing about I feel so anxious about it and I feel so sad and nobody else seems to feel as bad as me about it. And so then you start feeling worried that there's something wrong with you or something to do with your parenting. And this is what I say about this that takes you down. So what I'm going to ask you to do is just for 1 second, put aside your weepiness. Try to put that aside just for 1 second and ask yourself this question. What is it exactly that I'm worried about? Pinpoint 2 or 3 points. Don't let yourself slip into that because my baby's left home feeling. I don't mean to be harsh. We've got to come out of that for a second. I'll let you go back into it, but just come out of it for a second and ask what is actually bothering you about it. Okay, you're going to miss the person. Okay, that's the sad bit. Anything else to do with yourself? Is it because your whole identity is around being a mum? You may have been a full-time mum. You may be a single mum. And my heart goes out to you at this time because obviously it's going to be harder if you don't have a support network around you. So is it that? Is that you think, what am I going to do now because I've spent all my time and focus on this child or these children and now I don't know what to do? Is that the issue? Is the issue that that you feel worth less somehow now? Write down all the feelings, the actual feelings that you're feeling and ask yourself what they are, because it's only when you identify that absolutely that you can start to address it. So for example, if you think, what am I going to do with my time? I spent all my time with this child, what am I going to do now? Then of course what you have to do now is get curious about what's the next stage in life for you. What can you do if you're now free from 10 till 4 days a week? How can you fill that time doing things that you enjoy, things that are going to help you now develop and grow in a different way, just like your child is developing and growing in a different way? How can you do that? And start to slowly put things into place. I'm not suggesting that you go from one day doing nothing to the next doing a full-time degree. Think curiously about it instead of anxiously about it, and then start to take baby steps. Now, if you do have a partner, husband, obviously talk to them about it. Now, some men have this attitude of, I couldn't wait till they're all home. Till they've all left home, sorry. Then I'll get my wife back and we can get to know each other again and all that. Whilst he's feeling that and the wife is feeling anguish because the child's left home. If that's happening and one is not understanding the other's point of view, it's not going to help either of you. So you really do have to talk about it in an open and non-judgmental way. And I have to say, when you do start to talk to some fathers about it who've come out with that, in reality, they don't feel that at all. In reality, they too are missing their sons who's been their pal or whatever, or their daughters who's been their baby girl or for whatever reason. And they need to talk about it too. So it is a bit of a minefield, but you do have to stop the weepiness or at least wait till that's passed and then start to address the actual concerns and what you can do about them. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, the other thing is, I think you've got to understand that when your child goes to university or to college, they are totally selfish and they are tunnel visioned because all of this is new to them and they are considering what they're having to do and the paths way that they're taking. Don't assume that just because they may only be in lectures for, I don't know, a few hours a day, that means they've got the whole rest of the day that they could be talking to you. No, that's not true. Even when lectures are not happening, there are other things that happen, which means they are surrounded all the time by other people, or they're actually doing different things. They are not sitting doing nothing when they could be talking to you. It's not the case, so you have to remember that. And you have to, as I've said in these videos, you have to talk to your particular child about what is the acceptable level of you contacting them. Not 10 times a day. If you do that, and obviously it's easy to do that when you can text, pretty soon they're going to be turning their phone off to you, which you don't want at all. A tip for you, when they come home, believe me, Christmas holidays and every other holiday will come round just like that. When they come home, if you can afford to, take them out for dinner more often than not. The reason I say that is because when my children came home, young adults came home from university and we went out to dinner, they talk more when you're out for dinner about what's happening in their lives than they do when they're at home around the dinner table. Why that should be the case? Maybe there are too many distractions at home. I don't know, but certainly for us as a family, we got to know more about each other and each other's lives when we were out to eat than we did when they were at home. And that was without me having to badger them or fire 20 questions at them whenever they sat down, which of course you don't want to do either. I think the most important thing is for you to get over the catastrophic thinking and to ask yourself, when you really analyse your thoughts, ask yourself, is that thought true? If you've ever thought for 1 second, A, that you're not their mum anymore, and B, that they won't need you, it is an illusion. They will need you more than ever. They are going to need you more than ever. Think of it this way. When they come home from the holidays, they can show you how much they need you. And in between holidays, you get to rest and recover and focus on yourself so that when they do come home with a particular issue that you have to deal with or help them deal with, then you're ready for it. I think parenting changes, there's no question about that. You probably become more of a mentor or coach than an actual parent. That is a good thing. That is a good thing. If you need to nurture, then I suggest you buy some plants or even a dog. If it's that nurturing side of you, and I'm not joking here, that you miss, if you've always been a nurturing person, then that's what I would do, because as I say, it changes. You become more of a mentor and coach than you do a parent. Now, obviously, I could sit and talk about this all day long. I need to know your specific worries and concerns. Please tell me or ask me in the comments box, and I will continue to talk about it. Okay, so I do hope you found some of that useful. Excuse me, as I said earlier, please watch the previous videos that I've talked about, where I've talked about empty nest syndrome. And if you know anyone who may be going through this particular issue, please share the video with them, send them a link to help them, because this could be a more exciting time for everyone if you can just manage to, yes, feel sad and down and so on for a short time, but then kind of relish that your young person is going off and developing in this way, and you're able to sit from the sidelines and watch that and be proud of the young person that you've nurtured and brought to this stage, and they're now developing and becoming an adult and learning learning, as are we all, how to negotiate this life that we all have. Okay, please remember to watch on Saturday the Happy Home series. Yes, there will be a film this week. I know I missed it last week. As I mentioned to you, I had my family home, and as that happens not very often that I have my whole family here, I decided to give them all of my time. I hope you can forgive me for that, and I'll speak to you on Saturday. Until then, remember that on the Happy Stuff and Fluff we are getting happy, living longer